Relationships are important and they are valuable. And when faced with challenges such as this, I recommend you use the win-win strategy. My name is Ngozie Okorie, as I've been introduced. I'm the early years head in International Community School. I also teach psychology in high school, and I do mentoring for middle school, a bit into elementary once in a while, when occasionally. I'm excited this morning to share my experience, the one that has shaped my role as a leader with all of you today. I'll give a bit of a background and my story. I want to start with a quote by Emma Stone that says, "What sets you apart can sometimes feel like a burden, and it is not. And a lot of time, that's what makes you great." End of quote. It is my belief that effective international schools have a strong leadership structure for teaching and learning. School leaders have an indirect powerful effect on student achievement through their interaction with the teachers and their ability to shape school culture and therefore the society at large. The expectation for school leaders in an international school setting and in the fast-paced environment has become dynamic depending on the realities of our immediate environment. At a micro level, it is the ability to manage relationships between the various categories of people in the school community. Quite frankly, the impact of managing these interrelationships, it trickles down and it affects students' learning outcome, parents, and in a broader context, the overall development of educational policies. Now, as educators, we continue to face challenges. Some are problem noted in the past, rooted in the past. Others develop as the world around us evolves. And honestly, some we cannot imagine are perhaps on the way. To address these issues, we must brace up to focus on the future, be innovative for success and long-term solution. I will illustrate all this with my story. Having worked as a teacher in my organization for 3 years, thereabout, my direct supervisor resigned to go for her doctoral studies abroad. This created a vacancy for which I was encouraged mostly by my colleague teachers and friends to apply. I was shortlisted, I was interviewed. The whole exercise was rigorous and thorough. And finally, I was chosen. What actually set me apart was that my colleagues, that's the early years educators, came together to meet the board to pass their vote of confidence on me, having worked with me for some years and could attest to my leadership abilities and experience for that role. This information I didn't know when it was happening, but I got to know after I had resumed my new role as their head. One would think that the open support and attestation would make a soft landing and a smooth landing for me, right? Well, during this period, I became consistently conflicted with trying to balance the expectations of my colleague leader. I call them colleague lead teachers and friends because they were mostly my friends, and my role as an early years head. Managing my section became a concern because I tried to strike a balance between esteemed friendships and managing performances, guiding, organizing the work, and also developing staff. I got many pushbacks and resistance arising from the methodologies, our cultures, our processes, our procedures. Even when changes and decisions were made, it was difficult for me to implement them. My open door policy became an opportunity for them to either endorse or oppose my decisions or actions. It was tough, it was trying, and it was a testing period, but a learning curve for me. This scenario began to affect my personal performance, my performance at work, and my mental health, and would have trickled down to the students' performance if not resolved. I employed different techniques, from reading books to negotiations to understanding the perspective. But what stood out for me in all of this was the strategy I adopted, the win-win strategy. Everyone can win and nobody has to lose. So every quarter, I would ask them to set realistic goals on how they can collectively improve teaching, improve learning, our relationship within the school community, and make our communication more effective. This was effective because it made them, know that they have to be problem solvers. It made them, and they were no longer too ego-centered. Focusing on school community rather than themselves, fostering the idea of being one united community, remembering the big picture and a shared mission. Everyone is on the same page right now with the end goal that we're all trying to meet. Today, we are walking the work and we're talking the talk. So my appeal for you today is relationships are important and they are valuable. And when faced with challenges such as this, I recommend you use the win-win strategy. Thank you.